Hello, church. It's Pastor Alex with another evening reflection. Uh, One of the things that I do as part of my spiritual practices, usually this is more of an evening prayer kind of routine, is I will stop and say kind of my normal traditional prayers, but at the end of it, I'll consider the things in the day that I have to be thankful for. And sometimes it takes a little bit of extra work to do that, but I always find myself feeling better when I consider the blessings that I've experienced during the course of the day and the ways in which God has moved in my life. And sometimes, especially in the middle of the quarantine, the places where I have seen God active is it's a different place because so often I see the Spirit moving in between people. So it sometimes it's in and through a conversation that's over the phone. Sometimes I've seen it via Zoom, but I hold these things close because they are the ways in which I'm reminded of God's presence in my life. So I thought I could walk through that just a little bit with you. I call it a gratitude practice, and so as I'm getting ready for bed, I go through normal kind of prayers, but remembering and being grateful for the things that I've experienced today. So uh, I thought I'd share them. And so today I had my dad bought me lunch and left it on my back step, and so I got to have some fish that I would not have otherwise had, and it was delicious. And I'm really thankful that he took the extra step to do that. And even in the time of social distancing, we still were able to share a meal, even if we were in separate spots. At the same time, I got to have some really good conversations with some of our folks, and had a good conversation with Judy Fowler today, and I continue to pray for them at this time as well. And also, there was a robin that was right at the edge of my window today that almost looked like he was looking right at me when I was looking out my window with my morning coffee. We had this moment where we looked at each other. Little things that might seem really stupid to share, especially to people via the internet and YouTube. But this really helps me to consider the positive things that I've had during the day and to thank God for them. Because I don't know about you, but I spend enough time holding on to the negative stuff in my life. I don't need to replay all of the ways in which I've experienced hurt or disappointment. And but holding on to the positive things really makes a big difference for me. And so what I try to do is I try to just name those things out loud at the end of my prayers, and then I experience the feeling that I experienced when I first had them in my life. Uh, and so I'm thinking of the robin right now. I'm thinking of conversation with Judy, and I'm thinking of how the fish tasted and how it was given freely as a gift because somebody cared about me. Uh, those sorts of things make life so much richer. And if we scoot past them and just kind of keep on moving, we miss out on some of the richness of life. So I would invite you at this time to take a deep breath. Maybe consider the ways in which you've been blessed. And if today's not one of those days where you've experienced something like that, then tomorrow probably will be. And one of the things that is strange is that I'm on the lookout for these things now because I know that as a practice later I'm going to have them, and I want to be able to say something, so it keeps me looking for the positive more than the negative anyway. And again, some days it's hard if you have a lot going on, but there's usually something to be thankful for the clean water that we have, or for uh, how the pillow feels when you lay your head on it, or simple things like that. And the closer we are to gratitude, usually the more full and rich our lives are. And one last little lesson about this: our word gratitude comes from the Latin gratia, which is where we get our word grace also. And so gratitude, linguistically in Latin, is the exact same thing as what is an appropriate response to grace. And the biggest grace of all, of course, is that God created each and every one of us and created us well and desires us to have abundant life. And even in our fallen, sinful human state, God sent Jesus to restore that beautiful image within us, and on the cross and in the resurrection to show us that there's a greater purpose and a greater truth. And ultimately, of course, there's forgiveness for when we fall short, and there is so much more in store for us as we continue to seek out Christ in all that we have and all that we are. And God is active in your life, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of paying attention. So, one kind of silly. I mean, it's sometimes it feels a little silly, especially when you're sharing it to a computer screen. And but remembering to be thankful and to count your blessings, uh, it can really brighten your life. And it can give you a little bit of a boost of energy for the journey. And maybe in the midst of all of these uncertain times and the barrage of difficult news that we're hearing, maybe just brighten your day just a little bit. So may God bless you. Hope you're having a good evening. And if I can be a help, let me know. I would be delighted to field some questions also for reflections. If you have things that you're interested in, scripture passages or questions about prayer life or church in general, I would be delighted to talk about anything, because putting out 5 videos a week, I'm sure I'll be fine, but it would be great not to have to come up with everything. So if you've got any questions, let me know. Have a good night. God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.